Traci, how much of this is work that folks like yourself and these lawyers would be trying to do regardless of whether these big law firms had made sort of unholy alliances with this White House? And how much of it is more meaningful and feels more urgent and more rewarding for you because of the vacuum that these big law firms that Mark Elias is talking about there, in my view, accurately, and that Mike is talking about in the example of Paul Weiss?
I mean, look, our goal is to try to make sure that access to justice is not stifled by political extortion. And if that means mobilizing individual attorneys, small law firms, solos, people who normally in previous times, previous administrations, maybe wouldn't have needed to or have had the opportunity to get involved with this type of work, now, then that's what we're going to do, because we will do what it takes to help ensure access to justice, to help make sure that those who need an attorney in order to challenge governmental overreach have access to those resources, and essentially to try to make sure that individuals and communities, those who are being most impacted by this administration's policies, aren't just getting steamrolled because they can't find an attorney willing to challenge the government on some of those unconstitutional actions.
Traci, one of the things that the big law firms brought was a lot of resources. How are you able to meet the demand for legal representation at an extraordinary moment like this in our government?
Well, I will say there's no replacement for the resources that big law brings to the table. And I'm grateful that many of our large law firm partners are continuing to do pro bono work. That is extremely, extremely important. We don't expect to be able to match those resources, but thankfully we have incredible donors, including a group of Atlanta trial lawyers led by Jay Sad. We have incredible volunteers, including a retired Skadden partner named Gary DiBianco, who is volunteering with us full time to help us get this effort off the ground. And we have hundreds of volunteer attorneys who are ready to step in. So our goal is not necessarily to be able to replace the massive resources that big law can bring to the table, but it is to do what we can to try to mobilize resources that maybe were underutilized in the past so that we can take more advantage of the talents and the skill set and the expertise that we know individual volunteer lawyers can bring to the table.